Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shay. If you're new here, hello, welcome. In today's video, if you couldn't tell, this is day one with my new wild Mustang, and I am super excited. She's my Mustang for the 2022 Sacramento Tip Challenge. And she is pretty dang awesome. She is a 14-2 hand yearling out of Red Rock Lakes, California. And I'm just going to go through this voiceover and hopefully everything will go fine because I'm just going to do it once. This is a very, very long video, so make sure you've got your coffee or your tea or soda or literally whatever because it's going to be a while. Hopefully the audio isn't too bad for you guys. I really struggled with the size of this file, so we'll see what I can deal with here. Just some background information for you guys. I have never worked with a wild Mustang before, so this is the first time I've ever started a Mustang from the ground up. I have worked with a couple Mustangs before, just getting them ready to be saddled, but that's pretty much it. Throughout this entire video, I really wish that I did more release. I think I focused too much on trying to get to the next step and just a little bit more and just a little bit more from her instead of focusing on the release part of it. And I think my timing was off for a few bits too. I know you can't see a ton of what's going on right here, but this filly was just wonderful. She was pretty attentive to what I was doing, and there was definitely a lot of distractions going on. My husband was still working on the fencing too. Also, this whole video has been sped up by 25% because it would have been over an hour long, and I'm not about it. So, a lot of the clips are also cut down, but that's okay. Here, I wish that I would have offered a little bit of release because you can see how tense her face is and she really doesn't want to be anywhere near me. The other thing I want to mention too is I don't encourage people to try to work with a Mustang in a space this small. I go over it in my reflections video too of day one and two reflections that I talk about how I was a little bit nervous with her because I didn't quite realize just how tall 14.2 is, even though Sage is 14 1 3/4. The panels that we got are 5 foot, and the gal that hauled this filly said she was super reactive and tried to blow through her fences that are 6 foot. So I was very, very nervous about putting her in the pen. So I decided to keep her in the stall for the first day, just see how she does, and ended up putting her back in the whole pen the next day. Again, I wish I did a little bit more release instead of just continuously pushing. You could see her start to back up too because she just wasn't comfortable with me being in her space. I also think that I kind of unintentionally continuously stepped the wrong direction. So I wanted to stay at her shoulder as much as possible, but I think that I started stepping away from her, especially when she would start to shift her back end. I think subconsciously I just was kind of concerned about getting kicked and didn't want to be in the way, but I think it kind of sends the wrong message when, the horse is trying to get away from you and then you back off. It kind of sends the wrong message. Here, I'm not doing a little dance. I was definitely trying to grab the lead rope, which was fine. This wasn't really my plan to start training this way, but I think it probably was good for my first Mustang to be able to have a lead rope on there and to start working with her. She definitely was anxious about it, that's for sure. With her, what I was so impressed with was how easy it was to teach her to lead. She gave to pressure so well. Obviously, we aren't full on leading in this clip, but you'll see further on in tomorrow's video just how much better she does. She leads pretty freaking well. Again, I wish that I did a few more releases instead of just saying good girl. Obviously, they don't quite understand what good girl means. For me, I just kind of speak the whole time because it's partially to, just keep talking to them and getting them used to my voice. But it's something that keeps me calm in the moment too, so I'd rather just keep talking and, go with that. I think as far as the tension on the lead rope, I was a lot better with pressure and release in that aspect. That was a good release there. Kind of spooked her a little bit with the lead rope, but that's okay. I wish I hadn't stepped away there, but again, it's such a small space that I did not want to get kicked. Right there, again, I think the timing of the release was off, just trying to give her a little bit of space because she was so freaked out. But I want to make sure that I'm releasing when she's facing towards me or giving me attention, not starting to look away.
You okay, love? Good girl. Good girl. Did you just bring over another board? What? Did you bring over another board? Yeah, one more thing to brought. You want me to come help you then? Yeah, I need it in a minute. Okay. Give me just a second, because I got her to touch my hand.
Again, I think that was just a little bit off. I should have waited until she was calm before I gave that full release. Or tried to release a little bit sooner before she got so tense. I think this filly's really good about paying attention to where my body is. If I step in front of her shoulder, she's pretty quick to stop. And if I step behind her shoulder, she's pretty quick to move forward if I ask her to. Here's where she starts to kind of pin her ears a little bit. She doesn't ever get aggressive per se, but she's starting to definitely test the waters. Here, I wanted her to just step forward a little bit, get her out of the corner so that she doesn't necessarily feel super trapped as much as trapped in a stall, but, trying to get her out of the corner. You can see her really trying to figure out how to get away at that point. And that was the one moment that I wish that I had not just walked away. That was a huge release for her to pin her ears. Definitely better there about not backing down when she pinned her ears. I think that's going to be the biggest thing with her, is not jumping the gun and trying to get out of her space, because she needs to still respect my space as well.
Good. Come here. I see you. It's okay. That's a good girl. And easy. And let your ears forward. Can you come up forward again? Good. Easy. Good. Good girl. Easy. Easy, mama. It's okay. Good girl. That's a good girl. Good. Good. Easy. Good. That's a good girl. Good girl.
Right there, I wish I released, because that was a really good sniff, and it was a good opportunity for me to back off and let her know that that's exactly what I wanted.
Hey. Now you're investigating. It's okay. Good.
I also mentioned in my reflections video that this horse hates having her muzzle touched, so I really think that if I had started elsewhere on her body, it wouldn't have been nearly as bad. She just did not want her muzzle touched at all. She does really love smelling my breath, though. It's very weird. This was the first time I finally put a little bit of pressure on the halter with my hand. You can tell how much more comfortable she was with me touching the side of her face than she was with her muzzle. So this is the point that I finally started to understand she did not want her nose touched. Big release there, which I think was really good. And her licking and chewing there, she really understood that standing, being relaxed, it wasn't a big deal for me to touch her face. This was the first time that we had touched the tag, so that was really cool. I think here I'd really started to think more about the release part of it, being the positive that she needed was that release, and I think I finally started to realize I wasn't doing that enough. I I think the nice thing with this filly is I really feel like she is super expressive. Like she definitely tells you when she doesn't like something and when she's okay with it. I just need to be better about paying attention to it.
I don't know how these even work, so you're gonna have to bear with me because I don't even know. Like, do they just slip out?
Also, can I just say these tags are such a pain to take off. They're probably not that bad and I'm just overthinking it, but I was ready to get it off.
I'm sorry if I end up breaking your leg. That's not my intention. You're a good girl. She's not so bad. Not so bad. Yeah, her baby. What do you think, huh? Easy. Is that easy? With what it is? Easy, good girl. What a good girl. Yeah, good job.
I wish that instead of focusing so much on getting the tag off, I'd worked with her a little bit more about being able to put both of my hands up near her because I think I was just so excited to finally get the tag off that I missed some steps when it came to actual training.
Easy. Good girl. Good girl. That's a good girl. Did you say goodnight? No? Is she talking? Easy. There you go. Easy. Okay. Come here, baby. Come on. Good girl. Good. Easy. Good. Easy. Easy. It's okay. No, we're doing it different. Easy. Hi. Okay. What a good girl. Good girl. Hi. Okay. Easy. 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 These things suck. Easy. It's okay. Easy.
One thing here, I also wish that after she settled back down, again, I wish I would have just released and let her have a break instead of being so focused on getting the dang tag off. Here, I really think she was starting to lose her patience. She didn't want me anywhere near her anymore, so I should have just backed off when she stood.
That's one end done. Now one piece done. That's a good girl. I'm not trying to pull your hair, Mama. I'm sorry. Oh, what a good girl. What a good girl.
Here you can tell I didn't have both hands up next to her yet, and I was very nervous for it. I also stopped when she kind of popped her head up and started backing up. I stopped because I wanted that to fall when she was quiet and then be able to back off.
Easy. Well, we had a good experience. Easy.
That was definitely my bad, in my opinion. I feel like I should have pulled her head a little bit more towards me instead of just letting her kind of walk away. And then when I touched her shoulder, that's of course when she freaked out because we hadn't moved that
That
fast
was a
yet.
good itch.
Here I was just kind of testing the waters with petting new areas. I hadn't pet really down her shoulder yet, so I wasn't too sure how she was going to feel about this. I really like that when I release, she kind of steps towards me. And here she had that little bit of a nip, and she didn't actually get me or anything, but I wanted to be able to kind of let her realize that when you do something like that, it means work, not a big negative reaction. I wanted my energy to still be low and quiet just because we were in such a small space. Here we started working a little bit on kind of a quote unquote lunging because again we're in a 12 by 12 stall, but it was just a little bit of movement for her to start to understand what my body movement meant.
Ooh. Now you want to look in the bucket. Oh, sorry. Okay, my bad. Take a second. Look in the bucket. I know. Are you thirsty? I'll get you some water. Good. Can we maybe try to switch?
I don't think I had been on this side of her body yet, so it definitely was nerve-wracking for her.
It's a new side. I'm a whole new person. It's okay. Easy. Good girl. Good girl.
She definitely guards that side a lot more, and I'm not too sure why, if it's just kind of her left side is going to be better than her right, but that side definitely freaks her out.
She definitely doesn't like outside. Easy.
There, I wish I'd stepped back for a release.
Good girl.
She finally had let me touch her face on that side, and I wish I would have just stepped back.
Good job.
We still did get a release, and she responded to it a little bit, but it could have been more.
Good girl. Good
Lots of good
girl.
licking and chewing, too. She's definitely a thinker.
This is gonna be a good spot. It's okay. This is Sage's favorite spot. Come, you got some hair, girlfriend. Is it shedding season? Huh?
I also wish that I would pay attention to her body movements a little bit more because you could tell that when I stepped forward, she tensed up and just slightly leaned away. So I wish that I had kind of responded to that a little better.
That's a very good girl. It's okay. It's a good girl. Should go back to the other side. Okay. That's a good girl. You're doing very, very well. Good job. What a good girl. It's okay.
Here I'm trying to move a little bit quicker. At this point, she knows that my hand isn't necessarily going to hurt her, so I need her to kind of start to respond to some quicker.
Good girl. Easy.
She also was getting so much softer when it came to.
Good girl. It's okay. Good girl. Good girl. It's okay. Itchy. Easy. Itchy girl. Itchy girl. Itchy spot. Good girl. Itchy girl.
That breeze also really wasn't fun for her. There were a few times that the metal roof would kind of make a funny noise or the tarps outside would make funny noises, and she was not a fan.
Look at all this. You're gross. Are you gross, girl? It's okay. Sage is a gross girl too. Yeah, she is. Hi. She's a good girl. It's okay. Easy.
This was the side we hadn't done a whole lot of that, quote unquote lunging yet, so I wanted to see how she would respond to it. Just keeping it very quiet and calm. I didn't want her to stress out like she is here. So I asked her again to kind of move over so I could get to that other side.
Good. Yes, good girl.
I also wish that I'd seen that her butt was up against the wall, because I think that also did not help.
So you don't mind me as much on this side, obviously. Obviously, this is a little easier. It's okay. Good girl. Good girl. It's gonna go like that, right? Good. Easy. Good girl. Good girl.
I really liked how after that first little kind of freak out step in the back, she just backed right up. I was very impressed with how soft she was on the halter.
Oh, that's itchy. Is it itchy? Hey, Mama.
Here, this is the first time with a brush, so I made sure to let her sniff it if she wanted to. She really wasn't super interested, and I don't know if this was more because she was just kind of done for the day, if her brain was just over it, or if it was more of she just wasn't interested in it and didn't really care. I'm just not too sure. Once we started brushing, though, she did phenomenal. I mean, she really didn't care about many places that I put the brush.
You are so good. Good girl.
Right there, I wish I hadn't backed off when she got a little bit tense. It was just poor timing for that release again.
That's a very good girl. Hi, Sage. Thanks, baby. It's okay.
We also ended up trying a metal shedding blade, which was definitely a new thing for her. Again, she didn't really care to investigate, and I don't know if her brain was just kind of fried or if she didn't really care.
Good girl. Good job. little funny, huh? Good girl. Good girl. What a good girl. Good girl. What do you think, huh?
This is where I almost feel like she wasn't really responding. It was more of a freeze response because she just wasn't engaging with me anymore. She wasn't looking at me. She wasn't putting her ears forward when I would walk away. She just kind of stood there.
Good girl. You're so good. Okay. Good girl. What do you think, huh? Do you like the brush?
I do like that she did a little bit of licking and chewing, so I think that she was comprehending a little. I just don't know that it was like the best learning, if that makes sense.
Good girl. What a good girl. Good job. Nice. Good girl. What do you think, huh? Okay. Did you see me out of the other eye? Oh, God forbid. God forbid. That's a good girl. What a good girl. You are so good. Yeah, you're so good. That's a good girl. What a good girl. Good job, Izzy. That's a good girl. Good girl. You're so brave. It's okay. Wait. Good girl. Oh, oh, that's itchy. Feel better? Oh, oh, that's itchy. There's an itchy girl. What do you think? You were doing so good. Okay, it's okay. Can I get to your other side again? Good girl. Good
So
girl.
this is coming towards
Good
the end
girl.
of the video. I am so impressed with this horse, and I
Girl.
really just feel like I got super lucky with her. She's
Good girl.
very tolerant, despite being a little bit expressive. So I'm curious how she's going to be over the next week or so. really see if she starts to get really sassy, or if she's just expressive, or she kind of blossoms into this nice little filly. So I'm really curious to see how she does. I hope you guys are interested in following along with her progress. I just think she is super cool. So don't forget to subscribe if you want to follow along, like, comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.